So apparently, what's going on here is people that run Spotify, like the actual employees, they want to have Joe Rogan have his podcast be censored. They're sick and tired of having Joe Rogan have an uncensored platform.
What is up, everybody?
Podcast. Talking about bullshit and other things.
And to be completely honest with you guys, the Spotify people who invited Joe Rogan to be a part of Spotify are saying, like the CEO saying, Joe Rogan's podcast is a uncensored podcast. We need to produce it like it's normally been on YouTube and been on there for over 10 years with over 1,500 different episodes. And of course, occasionally he's going to have some controversial guests and some controversial topics, but that's what Joe Rogan's podcast has been known for, and that's what it's all about. So personally, when I feel that the Joe Rogan Experience podcast might be censored and might be something different than what it currently is on the YouTube page, I believe that would ruin what Joe Rogan is known for. Joe Rogan is known for having controversial guests like Joey Diaz or Eddie Bravo, who talks about the most controversial topics, and he will go off and rant about it. And when you censor a podcast, you're just basically saying, in my book, you don't really have the okay to produce a conversation with two people, because that's all a podcast is two gentlemen talking about whatever topics. It could be me and my friend talking about whatever, and the topics that me and my friend were talking about are like 15 minutes ago in her car. I damn well know that it would be very controversial and people would bash us hard because of the topics we were talking about. But the bottom line is, we're just two grown-ass adults having a conversation. And if we would have podcasted about the same topics, a lot of people would have been offended by it. And I think that's why Joe Rogan has so much followers, is because he's not doing something that is cookie cutter, something that is radio. And a lot of these podcasts that do it like a radio program, they don't use foul language, they don't have controversial guests, or they just stay away from certain topics because they know it would bring in a lot of bad publicity. And to be honest, as a fan of like Joey Diaz, Joe Rogan, I think what he's doing is okay. And I will always say this: if you don't like what somebody's talking about on a podcast or on a YouTube video, there's one thing you can do that would allow you not to watch or get offended. What you can do is, if you see a video on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast and it's a topic that you don't like, you turn it off and walk away. You don't sit here and complain and having this time. Like in 2020, it's the time that people are on that censorship. We need to censor this guy. We need to ban this guy. We need to get him off the YouTube. We need to get him off the airways. And to be honest, Joe Rogan wouldn't be where he's at if he didn't have super hardcore dedicated fans who like what he's talking about. What he's talking about is stuff that is controversial. He talks about marijuana, doing mushrooms, talks about DMT, MMA, mixed martial arts, and he talks about even flat earth and everything in between. It's just like that 2013 YouTubes. And what I mean by that is, what, 2012, 13, people would write, you wasted 5 minutes of my life. It's because people watched the full video and then got offended and then complained that they watched 5 minutes. If you don't like something, just turn the shit off and get out of here. That's all I gotta say, man. If I don't like a moto vlog or a YouTube video or somebody I'm watching, I'll turn that shit off and bounce, because why am I going to watch something that I despise or I don't like? Do I watch every Joey Diaz podcast? No. Do I listen to every Joe Rogan Experience podcast? No. But I will express my opinions on somebody having a platform that is free to speak his mind and not edited. He shouldn't have to edit certain things out or bleep things out just because it doesn't fit the narrative that you want. Let's say I'm talking about COVID-19 and I say something controversial. Okay, it's controversial. It makes you think a little bit. But the bottom line is, if you don't like it, just turn it off. Don't censor, because there's going to be somebody out there who likes the narrative that you're spitting and likes what you're talking about. But hey, I'm just a regular ass dude shooting regular ass ideas and just talking about the Joe Rogan Experience getting banned, or they should say censored, or edited clips. Because what Spotify employees are really saying, ladies and gentlemen, which is so dumb, that we need to edit his podcast before they go live, because they might say he has a narrative that he's talking about, or he's saying something that might not be truthful, or something that he read might not be 100% correct, and we need it edited, and then Joe Rogan come back and do some audio like voiceovers to put into that spot so it is correct. And the bottom line is, a podcast, like I said, just like Brian Rose said, is just two dudes shooting the shit, and that's all it is. So I don't think the Joe Rogan Experience is going to ever be edited. I hope it's not going to be edited, because then there's no point of watching it, because Joe Rogan is like the freedom of speech. You have the freedom to speak your mind and say what you want. If you don't like the narrative that someone's talking about, or you don't like the video someone's saying, just leave the conversation alone and leave. Don't watch this shit. If you don't like what Joe Rogan's talking about, or you don't like his narrative, then don't watch it. But like I said, Spotify is coming out, or the employees are just like, we don't want him on here unless it's censored and edited before it goes live, which I understand. You want it to be more like a family friendly show, but the Joe Rogan Experience podcast has never been family friendly. That's the problem. It's like saying Joey Diaz is very controversial. Of course he is. He talks about
red shit. Don't put it close to me. Don't put it around me. It's either blue cheese with wings or go fuck your mother. That's the next shirt. All right, please.
Know what Joey Diaz is about when you watch him. He talks about beating up homophobes in the park, getting hit in the head with a lunchbox. He's talked about getting beat up in the park. He's talked about mugging pedophiles. He's talked about all this crazy shit, when normally most people are like, oh shit, you're talking about this hardcore crazy shit, and most people would not talk about the shit that he talks about. But you know that's the main reason people tune into Joey Diaz, because it's so shocking. You're like, damn, I can't believe somebody lives this life or talks about this crazy stuff. But he talks about this stuff because it's about his life, and that's what Joey Diaz is so much different than every other podcast. He tells stories that are so convincingly real that you're like, I can't even believe this shit happened. I can't even believe you ever done this before. His stories are so crazy that you can't relate to them. They're so nuts that the average person, I can't fucking relate to this guy, but it's so captivating. That's why you tune in to watch. But that's just my opinion on why I think Joe Rogan is getting censored, or they want to edit his content before it goes up on Spotify, is because of the fact that they don't want something blurted out that might be like a homophobic comment, or something that's so far left that they're like, we don't support this, you shouldn't be doing this. But it's like on YouTube, he did over almost 16,000 episodes from his bedroom, to his office, to his house, and he's done so much shit that people just know when they tune in. You're going to hear the F word every now and then. You're going to hear him talk about smoking pot or try to motivate people. He's going to talk about these crazy things, but at the end of the day, if you censor a podcast, it's basically the saying, Joe Rogan, you could be now a radio program where you can't cuss. You only have these guidelines that you can talk about, and these ones that you really want to talk about, you can't talk about it anymore. So we're censoring you to be on our platform. So if you don't want to talk about, let's say, DMT anymore, and you don't want to talk about Donald Trump anymore, then we'll allow you on our platform, and we'll allow you to continuously make the product that you've been making. But if you ever say anything about this or that, your content's going to be censored or blocked. That to me is just stupid. We got the right to censor. We got the right to censor, baby. It's like, shut up. Just shut up. Let people speak their mind. All it is two grown-ass adults having a conversation, shooting the shit. That's all it is, baby. And that's all a podcast will ever be.